Hello, I am Miss Kelly Bass, and as a community-based project, I will be discussing a way I found to solve a local teacher's classroom problem using technology tools in the lesson. This presentation is called Learning to Read with Tech Tools in Pre-K. First, we want to discuss the problem. Miss Whitney, I thought that was going to, Miss Whitney teaches pre-K, and she teaches in a mainstream classroom. She has a special needs student who needs more attention, but she also has to meet the needs of all 15 of her students. So she needs creative solutions, and I think her solution is technology. So who are her students? Miss Whitney's students are pre-K, age 4. They are native English-speaking students, which I add since I work with ESL classes usually. And the technology available in Miss Whitney's classroom includes a laptop Miss Whitney uses, a touchscreen smart TV, and classroom tablets for the students. The subject is literacy, and in this lesson, pre-K students will develop literacy skills by using technology tools on tablets in the classroom, either individually, collaboratively, as a pair or a group, or by working together with a teacher. The overall objective of the lesson is for the preschoolers to learn literacy concepts and learn to identify letters and words. A secondary objective is to help the students engage with technology tools in the classroom to learn how to use technology for educational purposes. The problem this lesson solves is by allowing the other students to work alone or in groups with technology to instruct them, which will free up the teacher to work one-on-one with the special needs student in the mainstream classroom. And although some find it reaching to think that pre-K students could meet the standards for a kindergarten classroom, yet I feel it can be done successfully in the right class with a teacher who is focused and driven. Miss Whitney is already using kindergarten curriculum to teach her students chunking words and rhyming pairs this school year after she and I had a discussion about literacy and capabilities of students at age 4. In my experience, students can do more if given the opportunity, but they can also get bored if they aren't given a chance to shine. I've spent some time in this classroom and we have written stories together in spoken form. This class loves to write stories about puppy dogs and spiders. They are smart kids, and I stand behind the idea that they can learn this lesson's advanced curriculum, which aligns with the following standards for kindergarten learners. So under Common Core, I have two reading literature goals and a writing goal. And then under the NetS and ISTE standards, I have Empowered Learner and Global Collaborator. And here are the technology resources I recommend using alongside the use of the classroom tablets. So for number one, I have the Story Jumper ebook, and storyjumper.com is linked there. This is a website where anyone can access the Story Jumper website to create a digital storybook for free. You can also read the books of others. You could even read this storybook I wrote as an ESL reader that's right here on the screen. This is for adult university level students. The cover with the title will be shown later in the presentation. If you create a book, you can make it public to share with others as I did. A teacher can even write a story with their students, make an ebook out of it, and have it published. It's a neat technology tool. And the second one is Podcast on Clip. The Clip link is right there. Clip allows you to create a podcast for free and share the link. I have a screenshot here of a podcast intro I did for a reading and writing workshop for university age students. Not only can teachers or anyone create podcasts, but you can go on the site and listen to other podcasts about many topics. It's a helpful tool, and I recommend using it in the classroom, both with teachers' recordings for students and other teachers, but also for letting the students create podcasts. Podcasts are a great idea for classroom use. My third technology resource is Scratch Quiz. Um, it's also linked there on the screen. On Scratch, anyone can create a simple coding quiz or interactive audio mini presentation. And I recommend this tool for teachers in the classroom, even with the youngest students. On Scratch, you can also see other Scratch quizzes. It may be a little challenging to understand the coding concept initially, but if I can do it, you can too. It's a fun tool that students will love. Let me address this question now. Why do I think technology can solve this problem? Well, in Miss Whitney's classroom, she is a team teacher, but her team teacher is an aide who's kind of newer. Miss Whitney wants to watch over every situation going on with her students, and she has a special needs student. So she wants to do the care for the student, the special needs student, and the instruction. Um, so I recognize that she does appreciate and rely on technology, and technology could be her solution. With a tablet, all 15 of her students can work on the curriculum with the aide monitoring the classroom while Miss Whitney works with her special needs student also on a tablet. In this way, Miss Whitney can rest assured that everyone is on task and learning the curriculum she sets forth. So let's get into the lesson. The lesson sequence would be simply instruction, activity, assessment, repeat. So to elaborate, first Ms. Whitney would give students the instructions for using the technology tool. Then students would do the activity, complete the assessment, all while being monitored by Ms. Whitney and the aide. Then this process would be repeated for technology resources 2 and 3 for this lesson. So here are the activities. Activity number 1 is using StoryJumper for letter recognition. Number 2, using a podcast for read alouds. Number 3, using Scratch to teach literacy concepts. And you can see that I have a tablet because we will be doing all of this on the tablets. So for number 1, activity number 1 is using StoryJumper for letter recognition. For this activity, the teacher and students will interact with the StoryJumper platform. Prior to the class meeting, the teacher will use StoryJumper to find or create a digital storybook for teaching a simple literacy lesson to help with letter recognition that goes along with her curriculum. Then, when it is nearly time for class, she will pull up the digital story she chose or created on each of the tablets the students will use. At the beginning of her lesson, she will have the StoryJumper storybook displayed on the classroom's TV and will then instruct the students on how to navigate pages and where to click to move through the book. The students will then use their personal earbuds and classroom tablets to hear the story and work through the book while the teacher works exclusively with the special needs student, and the aide goes around the classroom to help students that need additional assistance. So our second activity is using a podcast for read alouds. Prior to the lesson, the teacher will use the Clip technology tool to record a podcast of herself reading a book she has in the classroom. If she has multiple copies of the same book, this would be much less work for her, and she could talk to the library media specialist about getting multiple copies of the same book. On the tablet, oh, then, before the lesson, she will place a book at each of the students' places at the table with their tablet. On the tablet, she will pull up the podcast to have it ready for the student. The teacher will also have the Clip website pulled up on the classroom's TV. To begin this activity, the teacher will use the TV display to instruct students how to play and pause the podcast. Then the students will use their personal earbuds and classroom tablets to play the podcast that is being heard in their ears while they read through the hard copy book in their hands. During the activity, the teacher will work solely with the special needs student as the aide goes throughout the classroom to help students that need additional assistance. Activity number 3 is using Scratch to teach literacy concepts. So prior to the lesson, the teacher will use the Scratch website to create a coding quiz for student use. Depending on student ability, she could create a one-question quiz at the beginning of the school year, and near the end of the school year, they should be able to do a three-question quiz. She will need to develop a system for identifying the students if they are not able to type their own name yet. As you see on the screen, that's one of the questions that I created on this quiz. And if the students have a classroom number that they use, like in the classroom, she could teach the students how to type that number if they are able to identify numbers better than letters. Having the ability for students to type the identifier or their name will help the teacher later determine which student completed which quiz. She can create a simple coding quiz on Scratch that supplements and reinforces a text she has already read in the classroom. She will find characters on Scratch to loosely match the characters from her chosen story, and her selections for the quiz can be simple answers like A and B. The quiz can be an assessment that not only assesses but educates the students. Before the activity, the teacher will prepare the students' tablets to use the smart screen and the smart touchscreen smart TV to display the Scratch site. When she begins the lesson, the teacher will instruct the students on how to click the green flag to begin the activity and how to use Scratch. Then students will begin by using the classroom tablets and their personal earbuds to interact with the Scratch technology tool. The first interaction point after the green flag will likely be a request for the student's name, so the teacher and the aide will need to be available for student assistance during that time. For completing the rest of the activity, however, the teacher will work with the special needs student as the aide helps the other students who need additional assistance. Before we discuss assessments, I think it's important to discuss what can be expected from pre-K for writing. In linguistics, we understand that small children make attempts to connect with the language they are learning and are attempting to write from a very early age, usually, even though we as adults often think it doesn't qualify as writing. However, to a literacy teacher, this is a writing sample. This is a writing sample one of my granddaughters did at around 18 months, I believe, maybe age 2. And you can see that she is very careful and thorough about all that she had to say, just like her Grammy. And what we see in children's writing starts out in this way. So it's important for us to understand that before we discuss assessments, since we're talking about pre-K. So our assessments are assessment number 1, drawing a picture of the story. Number 2, recording a video to retell the story. Number 3, using Scratch to assess learning of literacy concepts. And in assessment number 1, after they complete activity 1, the teacher will have the students draw a picture to retell the story they read on Story Jumper. And yes, they will draw. They may draw, but they also may write letters. And we may think it's a scribble, but to them, it's a whole story. So after the students draw their picture, the teacher and aide will go around to each student and ask the student, what did you draw? The teacher and aide will write one sentence on the student's paper to indicate what they told them that they are conveying about the story. So assessment number 2, to record a video to retell the story. So some people may not think that a pre-K student can use a tablet to record a video, but do you have children? Because they can do things we can't do. So to assess learning from the educational podcast read aloud of the book that they were holding, the teacher will have the students pair up with a classmate. The teacher and the aide will set the classroom tablets up to record videos and then instruct the students on how to press record and how to stop. One classmate will record a video of the other retelling the story they just heard on the Read Aloud podcast. Then the student pairs will switch roles and the teacher or aide will set up the tablet to record the next student. Now the first student who did their retelling will then record their classmate while they retell the story also. In this way, each pair of students will have an outcome of 2 videos. The teacher and aide will then upload the videos for the teacher to post on the classroom's website to show their parents. And assessment number 3 is using Scratch to assess learning of literacy concepts. And for this, it's simply just having the teacher will have the student end their Scratch quiz. After they end their Scratch quiz, they will just stay on that screen so that the teacher can do a screenshot for them. So this is what I have to show a way that technology tools can solve a community-based problem in a pre-K classroom for literacy. Thank you so much for your attention.